Good day, everybody. Welcome to the first part of our webinar series, The Future of Work Handling the Millennial and Gen Z Workforce Through Employee Engagement. This series is sponsored by Microsoft. Today, we'll be discussing generational gaps and technological changes in today's fast-changing employee landscape. We are joined by two well-experienced professionals from TechOne Sanjay. Jude Fernando is a veteran HR professional with over 2 decades of experience under his belt. He's affiliated with Association of HR Professionals and IT Skills Council of Sri Lanka and is currently the HR head for TechOne Sanjay. Next up is Akvash Ladibu, Assistant General Manager of TechOne Sanjay and one of few Microsoft MVPs. He is a seasoned tech advisor with over a decade of expertise in productivity and collaboration tools for employee engagement. Before we begin, just a few pointers for everyone. This is a 45-minute session, and we'll be accepting questions from the audience. Just type in your queries, and we'll get to them later on. So let's get started. Hi, Jude. Hi, Akvash. How are you guys doing?
Hi, Ara. We are doing great.
Hello, Ara.
Fantastic. Fantastic. So, Jude, to start us off, can you please share your insights on how different today's work landscape is?
Thank you, everybody. First of all, we'll look at what the work landscape is. If you look at work landscape, it is characterized by several factors. There are temporal factors, which is defined by the time. There are spatial factors, which is defined by the space. There are process-related factors, technological factors, culture-related factors, values, and of course, humans. As you see it on the slide, today's work is not defined by time. Previously, in the history, work has a set starting time, set finishing time, but now, of course, it's different. You can work anytime, anywhere. At the same time, yesterday's work has been restricted to the office, but today it's not so. You can work at your ease, where you feel most comfortable. You can relate with other people, other business managers from wherever you want. So today's work is largely not bounded by time and work. What does that mean is that the work is flexible. The flexibility is a common characteristic of today's and future's work landscape. Then there are a few other factors like input-output relationship, the empowerment of people, the communication aspect, and the evaluation aspect. If you look at today's work, you can use any device. You can use your home devices, you can use your own devices, you can use your own communication lines and so on. But previously, it had been the company's equipment, company's communication channels, and so on and so forth. And same time, if you look at previous work, it was more like the input based. What does that mean is that the staff member is supposed to work in a particular confined, particular environment, and staff member is monitored, supervised by the managers. It's more towards a theory X kind of work relationship. But what is most valuable today is the output. It's irrespective of what you do and how you work and so on and so forth. It's in the end of the day, it's output focused. And if you look at the other factors, you see a whole host of things here. It's said that today's work is more empowered towards the staff members. The staff member has to decide what to do, how quality output, and how efficiently that is obtained. The whole decision making is with the staff, not with the organizational rigid managerial rules. Also, you see that those gone are the days that we use a lot of emails for communication. There is, of course, now when you raise an email, there is always time to respond. But now it's not so today. There are platforms where people are instantaneously At the same time, they are communicating with each other, collaborative platforms. So these are the characteristics that define today's work environment. If you look at the previous work, another characteristic that defined the past work landscape is it's more individual centric, but today it's more team centric. Team success is valued more than individual success, and planning and monitoring is largely taken over by the modern technological advancements. So those are the main characteristics of today's work landscape. Now, there is another aspect that you have to think of. It's not you cannot generalize it to all sorts of industries, all employment types. You have to make a decision. Organization is basically it has a hierarchical structure. It has a decision-making line now, but most of the jobs, what we would say that going towards these modern, flexible work arrangements.
That's a very interesting question. So if you see in the slide, technology has played a major part in the evolution of the employee in terms of a changing landscape of work. So that is on top of what Jude explained. Now, if you look into today's context, every organization is now moving towards the modern workplace concept. So that is the way in which organizations work has been evolving day by day, and both the work styles and the workforce are becoming more and more diverse. Um, Business have become increasingly global nowadays, and cross-functional silos have been broken down. On the other hand, connectivity is increasing, and teamwork is becoming a key to any organizational success. Now, employees are on twice as many teams as they were 5 years ago. Can you believe that? Yeah. The amount of time that employees spend on collaborative work today, like in meetings or on phone calls, on answering emails or replying to chat messages, has increased by about 50 to 60%, I would say, on what it was before. Even more significantly, this kind of work now takes up 80% or more of employees' time. So in addition, teams are increasingly a mix of employees within the organization as well as outside vendors. And most importantly, teams have remote members. Either they might be working from home or working from a coffee shop or on the road or in different geographical regions in our context today. So Microsoft 365 or Office 365 has some great tools bundled to address these, right? So now to address all of these need, so Microsoft has a product called Microsoft 365, also another product called Office 365, which is there, which has some great tools bundles to address these, and also built to address the needs of all the 4 to 5 different types of generations who make up the workforce today. So one such tool, which is part of this Office 365 or M365, is called Microsoft Teams. Mike, I will be talking about Teams in a while and show you how Teams would work. So I think that's how the modern workplace or the workplace has changed its landscape today, Ara.
All right, thank you very much for that, Akvash. Now, since you mentioned modern workplace, that is part of digital transformation, right? And we've been hearing a lot about this subject. Now, in your own words, what is digital transformation for HR, and why is it important for HR to be digitally transformed now?
Yeah, thank you, Ara. Now, if you look at a transformation, why transformation is needed? The transformation is needed to add more value to the system, whichever it may be, to add more value than what it had been previously. Now, when it comes to digital transformation, the whole idea of digital transformation of HR is to increase the productivity of HR. How you create more value towards HR. This is by increasing the effectiveness of HR function. This is by reducing the costs of HR function. This is by increasing the efficiency of HR function. Now, what will happen if the productivity is improved? What will happen to the HR function? That is the question. Those days, the HR function has been considered as a transactional agent. That is, they have to keep attendance, they have to do the payroll, they have to take care of some basic and rudimentary functions of HR. But nowadays, what is happening is because of the transformation, digital transformation, HR function, much of the HR function, much of the basic HR functions are being taken over by digital systems. Not only the basic HR functions, even the second order HR functions. The second order HR functions also to a great extent can be taken over by the digital systems. So this would save a lot of time, effort and resources for the HR. So as a result of that, HR can become a strategic partner, strategic business partner of an organization. You'd see the changing roles of HR. It's true that it has to take care of its administrative and functional roles, but it is mainly taken care of by the system. And HR would become an employee champion. HR would get more and more time and resources to focus on higher order activities. This is how HR functions, incorporation of digital transformation to HR function is going to value today. Now, let's take a small example. Take your payroll for an example. Right? When you do a manual payroll, every month you have to enter figures manually. Then you wanted to incorporate your attendance data because if somebody is absent, that you have to effect a pay cut or certain other changes. This creates a higher margin of errors, involve a lot of cross checks. There is a payroll clerk, there's a payroll executive, and the finance department has to look at that. Lot of work, couple of days work for all these people. But when the payroll is taken over by the digital systems, your attendance is automated. It automatically incorporates who is present, who is absent, who is on leave. And salaries, it's just a matter of giving few instructions to the system to do the salaries. System will calculate it. And also it would generate your pay slips in a click of a button, and it would generate all statutory reports like EPF, ETF reports and everything. Right? At the same time, it would keep records, and you can get a lot of analytics by click of a button. So this is how the digital transformation is going to save your work. Take another example. Look at the personal filing cabinet. Oh my God, there are hundreds of personal files with dozens of documents inside it in varying sizes, right? And you have to keep it safe. Insects might damage it, and then you have to keep it locked in a fireproof cabinet. And there may be certain documents like thermal papers are getting blurred after some time. You need to get photocopies and so on and so forth. But now, today, what we are doing is we have a different kind of digital platform, which is called NDoc, where we keep all these personal file documents scanned, indexed, and secured. In a click of a button, you can retrieve any of these documents in a click of a button. And same time, when it comes now, most of these HR documents are being used at different points of time, and we can incorporate these scanned documents to our workflows. We can use it, and we can very securely send it to the intended person without distributing it to anybody else. So this form of transformation has given a lot of time saving, lot of resource saving, lot of effort saving in terms of delivering HR's basic activities. Now HR can become a strategic partner and focus on development work, focus on policy related work, higher order activities. This is the change that caused digital transformation to HR in the present context.
So, although some of these digital transformational stuff that Jude just explained can be addressed by a digital HCM system, we need certain other tools also in order to achieve the required digital transformation in HR. Why? Because our employees need to be more productive, which will enable them to be them to benefit the organization, right? So digital transformation is about how do we bring together people or employees, the data that we have in our organization and the processes to create value for our customers and maintain a competitive advantage in this digital world. So that's digital transformation. And in an HR context, it's about when we say people, it's about empowering our employees with the tools that we can use to collaborate and engage with others who are within our organization, as well as who are external to our organization, or people who are within our organization working from a remote place or working from home or anywhere that they want to in order to be more productive, right? So to achieve this, one of the tools is Microsoft Teams, which is a great tool for this. Now, Teams is basically a hub for teamwork. It is a chat-based workspace that enables teams to be more productive by giving them a single and, most importantly, a secure location that brings together everything a team needs. For an example, you can bring in chat, or instant messaging. You can bring in meetings which you have, right? As well as audio, video conferencing or calls, your files, which could be from your desktop or from a cloud location like OneDrive, right? As well as other tools. There are more than thousands of third-party apps, as well as apps from Microsoft, which can be incorporated with Teams and been used by these workforce of ours. So Microsoft Team is like a one place for all the needs your teams have. So let me showcase Microsoft Teams. So I'm going to share my screen. Okay. Right. So we at TechOne use Teams quite heavily. So if you look at all the teams that we have been created, we have teams representing every country that we are in. We have for every division that we have, different projects have teams and so on. So it's easier for employees to start collaborating with each other, sharing their thoughts, sharing their files, and others will be able to contribute and so on and so forth, right? So here, I have created a team through which I'll be able to, I'm going to have a conversation with a colleague of mine, and I'm going to say that at symbol and tag him so that the notification will go directly to him within this particular team. Okay. So I'm going to ask him if he can help me to edit the document that I have already shared with him, right? So I'm going to go in and see this is the document that I have shared. I'm going to go ahead and open that particular document within Teams and see, okay, we'll go edit. And the beauty of Teams is, multiple people can start collaborating on the same document that we have, right? So if you see on the left, I can see my colleague has been connected. He's in this particular document, and he can also edit the document at different places while I am editing the document here. Okay, so right. So likewise, we'll be able to work on a single file by multiple people, and we call this particular feature as co-authoring. So this could be implemented within your organization also to give a real life scenario here. So this is how digital transformation can help your workforce today, and how digital transformation can help an organization tremendously.
All right, thank you very much for that demonstration, Akvash. Now, I actually have a question here just to put it in. So we've been hearing a lot about millennials and Gen Z joining the workforce, right? Now, can you give our audience an idea on who they are and why should HR prepare for them? And also, how should this new wave of professionals prepare when joining the workforce?
Okay, thank you, Vera. Now, before going into Gen Z and millennials, I would like to give you a glimpse of the composition of today's population and the workforce. If you look at today's population, don't worry about these generations, right? Don't worry about these generations. We can discuss those things later. Okay? Today's population, if you look at today's population, it said that there are 20% of population is composed of Generation X. 22% are millennials or Generation Y. Then 26% of the population are Gen Z. And of course, there are two other generations. They are called baby boomers. They are somewhere around 24%. And veterans, the oldest generation we see today, they are around 9%. So now these are the people who are coming to our workforce today. By 2020, by 2025, it said that there would be 35%, 30 to 35% of Generation X, 35% of millennials or Generation Y, 25% to 30% of Generation Z. And of course, there is a minute fragment of baby boomers. Again, I'm telling you, there are 25% of Gen Z, 35% of millennials, and 30% of Gen X. Now, what is important here is that we, as HR managers, as organizations, we are dealing with minimum 3 different generations of people. Why these generations are important? The historical events, those characteristics by these generations are different to each other. They are thinking in a different manner, right? When they come to a workforce, the biggest challenge HR is facing is how HR could put all these people together and get the best out of them. That is the biggest challenge. Now we'll look at some of the characteristics of millennials. When I say millennials, most of the HR people are getting alarmed. If they are from a kind of early generation, they have different connotations for millennials or Generation Y. Now, Generation Y are the people who have experienced internet, computers, social media first. They appreciate work-life balance, flexible hours, and so on. They are not much conscious about very high salaries, but in turn, they are conscious about the collaboration with teams, better association with their teams, and so on. They need recognition and they go after opportunities for growth. They want to become part of something, some purposeful, meaningful thing. They like teamwork and they don't like bossy kind of environment, but instead that they want to have coaches. So they are optimistic and confident charmers. If you look at Generation Z, and they are the native internet and digital transformation, they are the natives. In their DNA, this digital transformation is there. They have been exposed to digital disruptions. They have been exposed to many other convenience consumer experiences that has arisen via digital disruptions. Now they are more and more, they are getting exposed to the 5G, Internet of Things, and robotics, bots, AI, artificial intelligence. So this generation, they prefer very much to have a stable employment, equality, diversity, job security, and for higher pay. And they are called they are having do-it-yourself attitude people. And so now when it comes to HR managers, what is important here is that one way the digital transformation is taking place, one way people's mindset is conditions and they are belonging to different generations, then how do you put them to work together? I would give you a small example. Imagine a collaboration between a young data programmer who is coming from a Gen Y or millennials, right? They are very versatile in developing new technologies. So, and this, let's say this programmer is working for a company which is owned by an old generation entrepreneur. Right? Now, if this programmer comes with a new bot which analyze the market trends, and if the experience and exposure of the older generation entrepreneur can be collaborated with this new programmer, new generation programmer, of course, the organization can come up with a lot of understanding about new markets. They can stay ahead of other organizations which are not using digital technologies, because now the HR or rather organization is combining the older generation people and the younger generation people. This is a simple example. This is a very much challenging situation for HR people today, how they could incorporate these different generations into workspace.
So apart from what Jude just said, in terms of Gen Z and millennials, in terms of technology, right? So with all these technologies, it is important to also understand that we need to create solutions addressing these generational workforce, especially the to which are Gen Z and millennials, who are the future of any organization, right? So with the outburst in using devices, that if you really look at Gen Z and millennials, they keep using many devices. That is, these type of users will have at least 2 or 3 different devices nowadays, right? It could be a smartphone, it could be their tablets as well as their laptop or desktop. And of course, the surge in the internet connectivity by more than 50% of the global population, which is more than 3.5 billion people using internet every single day. So the Gen Z and the millennials should be equipped with the right tools for the job. So for an example, these type of workforce are the ones who likes to work from home or work from anywhere concept, and they likes to have remote meetings as well as work from a coffee shop and so on and so forth. So again, Microsoft Teams has the instant messaging capabilities or chat, as well as audio video conferencing solutions inbuilt. So these are some of the functionalities which will help these workforce or these employees to work from anywhere, anytime, using any device that they want. As long as they have connectivity, they'll be able to be more productive, and they'll be able to have a workplace of their own, which will again increase and boost their productivity. So going back into the Teams, I am going to share my screen again. Okay, so here I'm going to open up Teams again, the same team that we went into. All right, so here, if you really look into it, right, I'll be able to start meetings through just clicking the Meet Now button here. And by clicking that, I'll be able to start a meeting with everyone within this particular team, right? So by just clicking in, I can just click Meet Now, and it's going to ring everybody's Teams, or which is installed on their mobile devices, and everybody will be able to join into a particular call. Or I can even select whom I want to invite by going into Schedule Meeting from here, or I can even go into meetings through this particular icon, which is there on your far extreme left, right? And once we have meetings, nowadays what happens is organizations go on for meetings, teams will have different meetings, because remember, employees are in more number of teams now than they were 5 years ago. So with being members of multiple teams, we'll have a lot of collaboration, a lot of meetings coming in. So usually what happens when we go for a meeting is we take down action items on a piece of book or on a piece of paper, right? And when we come back, we lose it. And when the follow-up meeting happens the next week or week after, nobody knows what happened to those action items. There is no way of following up. There is no way that the head of the team or head of the division will be able to track what's happening to the task that they were discussing. So there are so many other apps within the Office 365 platform or Microsoft 365 platform that could be incorporated into Teams. One of those is called Planner, which could be added by clicking on the plus sign here, right? So I have already added a planner in this particular team, right? And we have usually after every single meeting, we have action item that is being created as task, and then it has been assigned to people who are part and parcel of that particular team. So once you have this, the assigned people will be able to update what is the status of those activities that has been assigned, whether it is in progress, whether it is completed or not started, with dates and attachments and descriptions and so on. So from the management perspective, they'll be able to go into charts and see, okay, what's the summary of it, right? Whether the status of the tasks that is been assigned to, as well as to whom it has been assigned to, right? And whether it has been completed, whether it has been in progress, or whether it is not started, and so on and so forth. So this gives a slightly an analytical interface for someone to see or visualize where they are. And also, you'll be able to go into other apps such as Power BI. So I'm going to add up another tab, another app, and show you how we'll be able to. I'm going to put up a sample HR data set that we have, and go in and show you how easy it is to bring in a data set which is from your from an Excel file or from your ERP or from an HRMS in order to into Teams through Power BI. Right. So here you will be able to drill down these analytics and see how your that particular data set, or in this case, how your new hires have been performing, or how many new hires you have been having, and all those data set, based on the data set, you will be able to drill down and see. So the important thing is the more tools or the more productivity tools that you have of this sort will definitely make the Gen Ys, or rather the Gen Zs and the millennials, more active within the organization in terms of digital transformation.
All right, thank you very much for that again, Akvash, on the demo. Now, you mentioned something about investing in solutions, right? And I think that is really important as well. However, let's be honest here. HR has always been seen as a cost center. So how can HR and anyone from our audience really convince management to invest in technologies? How can IT, hand in hand, also work with HR to show value in digital transformation for HR?
Right. Thank you, Ara. Well, this notion of cost center is associated with some negative connotations. Right? Gone are the days HR has been reduced to basic functions like taking attendance, monitoring on leave, and doing the payroll. But however, if you look at today's landscape, that how new technology has enabled the HR to help the organizations to gain competitive advantage. It's a nice story to look at. Now, what is meant by gaining competitive advantage is that the organization is positioning the organization or its products more effectively than its competitors, and same time defending its position against the rival. Now, how can HR help in such a context for an organization to gain competitive advantage? That is the question. If you look at today's HR functions, now there are a lot of resources being allocated to HR. Say, for instance, that you are recruiting people, right? So if you can increase the productivity of recruitment, if you can source the best people from the market and retain them, that would help the organizations to maintain their competitive advantage in the marketplace. How HR could do that is that HR can use the new technologies to reach the people, prospective people, and HR can use new technologies, analytics to see the effectiveness of their HR recruitment processes, and so on and so forth. Not only that, wherever HR function is concerned, may it be hiring, retention, employee branding, proper succession planning, and whatever it may be, you can use HR to add value to the organization. That is, HR is going away from the traditional notion of being a cost center to a value addition. But this value addition is not straightforward, not direct, and you cannot see it in terms of dollars. But still, it is adding value greatly to the organization. improved analytics can provide the business managers to make effective business decisions. So the question is, if HR can help the organizations to retain their competitive advantage, should we make investment on new HR technologies? So that is something should be decided by the heads of the organization, but it is possible organizations to go for cloud-based technology where the costs are not so expensive, right? So we here at TechOne Global, we are practicing a HRIS system called MyHCA, where you host it on the cloud and anybody can sort of access to that anytime, and there's no cost incurred in terms of servers, communication, and so on and so forth. It's subscription based. I would say HR today is not a cost center. Actually, it's adding a lot of value to the organization's objective.
Okay, thank you very much for that, Jude. I think, now it's quite clear that HR is no longer a cost center, but it's really adding value to an organization. Now, let's say the heads of a company or an organization has finally decided that they are ready to invest in like more solutions for HR, right? Now, where can HR start implementing these digital transformation strategies? How can it be made bite-sized?
So to build a digital transformation strategy, so at TechOne, we believe that to build a digital transformation strategy, you need these three pillars. That is value creation, customer satisfaction, and business continuity. So digital transformation strategy would be built on top of this, right? And this could not only be only for HR, but it could be for any vertical that is there. It could be for finance, or it could be for anything, right? So in terms of HR, value creation is about giving your what can I say? Giving your workforce the relevant tools and technologies to be more productive, right? So which will reduce cost and improve productivity at the end of the day. So when the workforce is productive, your customers are happy and customer satisfaction is achieved. But again, looking through the lens of HR, your employees are also your customers, aren't they? So, and on an effective digital HR tool with the necessary automation would satisfy them. So with all these technologies being implemented, like you have digital tools like Teams coming in, you have digital HR coming in, you have document management coming in to these employee benefits as well as to make them more productive, right? So with all these technologies being implemented, we need to make sure that it's secure, right? Because it could be on a hosted model, or it could be on a subscription model in cloud. So it has to be secure and it has to be reliable for uninterrupted business. Because if at all, if one of these tools fail today, it's going to be interrupting the business, which is going to make a big loss. So Microsoft Office 365 or M365, as well as Microsoft Azure, on top of which most of these solutions have been built, right? They are secure and they are built on industry security standards, and those platforms are reliable, robust, and they are unbreakable. So these are the stuff that needs to be considered when we are looking at implementing a digital transformation strategy. Basically, value creation, customer satisfaction, and business continuity are the main points to consider.
All right, thank you very much for that, Akbash. Now, I'm sure our audience has learned a lot, and they're now curious to know what tools you're using. So, how have you implemented digital transformation in Tech One?
Thank you, Ella. Now, if you look at the Tech1 Global's digital transformation strategy implementation, what we have first done was we implemented the attendance management, we implemented leave. We did both the attendance management and leave via HCM. HCM is the human capital management, that is the name of our HRIS system. So, attendance is available on mobile. Anybody can mark in and out times on mobile. Anybody can apply leave on mobile also. So, if you are an organization which is not restricted to one location, that if you are having your project sites, so many places in a country or maybe globally, right? Still, you can manage, you can synchronize all those attendances via the mobile applications. We further went into incorporating meetings and calendars via Teams. Right? We have these collaboration platforms, as Akbar said, we have Teams. We do all our meetings through Teams in any time with different time zones, right? We can conduct our meetings through collaboration platforms. Even we can go and issue letters to our staff members digitally. That is through a great platform called Messenger. Right? It's very secure. It's secured by blockchain, and we do HR correspondence through doc. Not only that, we can monitor, as an organization, Tech1 Global is giving lunch to all our staff, right? Our people can order lunch via a bot called Cornelia in Teams. We know the preferences of people, right? We can get data, we can get analytics, and we can do our lunch menus based on that. That's how we have incorporated certain HR aspects to digital era. And if you look at how we have done this, because in certain departments, traditionally, there are certain, little bit of not melting together kind of attitude. There's a bit of a friction. What our C-suite has done was that they have taken the ownership. They have taken the ownership for two critical functions, I would say, the HR and IT. So leadership for IT and HR is given by the CEO and COO. So there is no question about the resistance. C-suite every week, bi-weekly, they are reviewing all the KPIs, they are reviewing HR KPIs, they are reviewing how things are happening and progressing. And same time, we have digitized hundreds of personal files. We have converted all paper-based HR files to secure document management system, which is called Enodoc. We fully run all our HR aspects, including performance management, higher order HR aspects, we manage through a digital platform called Human Capital Management System.
So apart from that, in Microsoft 365 and Office 365, there is Yammer, right, which is similar to Facebook. right, which is an enterprise social networking platform. And we use it as an HR and corporate communication tool within our organization to inform of recent wins, news, announcements, including birthday celebrations and country happenings to keep them socially engaged, to keep our workforce socially engaged. So Yammer is also being used in depth within our organization. Then we on Teams, right? So we were also able to naturally remove Viber and WhatsApp for official or formal discussions and even social discussions within our organization. So through this, we were able to maintain our privacy policies and make sure that data leakage does not occur even accidentally within our organization. And we made sure that the data really belongs to the organization, and there was no accidental data leakage by even if the employee loses their own device, because this could be controlled. And then in terms of using analytics of Office 365, we are able to identify potential influences within the organization who can drive culture change in our organization. So that is, we were able to find out what sort of posts our employees most engage in Yammer or in Teams, which allows us to craft sort of better messaging or corporate communication initiatives within our organization. And last but not least, we were even able to deploy a learning management solution on top of Azure, a cloud-based learning management solution. So through this, all our trainings and certifications have been delivered to all our employees in our organization globally. And whenever they complete a training, they are being given a certificate automatically, and it is been tied to their KPIs and so on and so forth. So all of these are the components that we have been using within Tech One in order to achieve digital transformation. So in terms of Teams and digital transformation using some of the Microsoft tools, there is an upcoming webinar that I'll be presenting in the next couple of weeks in detail.
All right, thank you very much for that, Jude and Akhlash, for the highly informative talk and demo. And we may have exceeded the 45-minute mark, but we're still accepting a couple of questions from the audience. So we're opening the line and just send in your questions. All right, so the first question that we have is this. So technologies require investment, and for small companies, this might not be that affordable. So where can small organizations start the digital transformation journey?
Okay, let me take that question. So when you look into the digital transformation journey or the roadmap, right, similar to the question that you asked earlier with regards to the 3 pillars that I explained, right? So we have experience in going into an organization, studying their environment and doing blueprints and stuff like that, which will be able to do it. So and from the blueprint, we know their digital transformation journey. And of course, starting a DX roadmap or digital transformation roadmap does not require a lot of investment if it is planned properly, that is. So we have been helping growing businesses over time and notice that a best starting point is to move to cloud productivity, that is. So this can be done through technologies such as Office 365 or Azure, right? And also going for a subscription as a service or a cloud model will lessen the capital expenditure, and then it will be on more of an operational expenditure so that it will ease up the cash flow for the organizations. So for SMBs, I think going cloud and looking at these options would be great.
Okay, thank you. So basically the secret is to like plan ahead, right? Plan properly.
Correct.
All right. Now, our next question, I think it would be for Jude. Now, Jude, how can HR keep abreast of technology changes?
Okay, let me give a very quick answer to that. Now, if you look at the resources available online, there's a plethora of resources for HR practitioners. By joining HR communities, Of course, you find it on LinkedIn, the Facebook, and there are a lot of leadership blogs available. It's very much possible for HR managers to get in touch with the modern development of technology in the field. Thank you.
Okay, so that's basically like just maximizing the digital channels available, right? Social media, forums, whatnot, right?
That's right. That's right.
Okay, well, thank you very much for that, Jude. Now, unfortunately, that's all the time we have, and thank you everyone for sending in your questions. But don't go just yet because we have great news. So for a limited time, you can get Office 365 Business Essential for only $2.50 per user per month, Office 365 Business Premium for only $10 per user per month, and Anadoc for only $99 for one department. Now you can find out more about these promos by sending an email to aliana@techoneglobal.com. And that's it for this week. Now, if you missed some parts of this live webinar, don't worry because it will be available on demand. We look forward to having you all in part 2 of our webinar series, Digital Transformation 101 for Growing Businesses. It will be held on August 28th, Wednesday of next week. Tech One CEO Lars Jepsen and COO Wasantha Werakune will be sharing their key insights on the subject. Again, thank you everybody. Thank you, Jude and Akbash. See you all next week.